Conjure, and I'm coming back with another video. So if you don't know who we are a spiritual company. We specialize in spiritual supplies and services catered to the practice of hoodoo. And before we go any further, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel. Also, make sure that you follow us on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, which is Third Generation Conjure, and like us on Facebook, which is Third Generation Conjure as well. If you need any kind of spiritual supplies or services, you can find us on our website, which is www.thirdgenerationconjure.com, and our Etsy store, which is www.thirdgenerationconjure.store. So, the purpose of this video today is to go over some frequently asked questions that I have been getting, especially with new people who have been coming in. So the main topics for today are going to be about uncrossing workings and ancestor veneration. Okay, so if you are just coming in to this practice and this is something that you feel that you want to practice, I think the first step for you to do and what's important is for you to make sure that you do your research. Research what this practice is all about, how this practice originated, okay? So, and I'm not going to get too much into the history details, but this is a practice that was created by slaves, and it emerged out of the enslavement of Africans in the Americas, and it was a practice that was used for oppressive situations and for the oppression of blacks in America, right? So these practices were used in desperate times, is what I would say. So, like I said, it was a practice of oppressed people. So I think that's something that people need to recognize. Now, we do use the practice for other things in today's time, but that is where it emerged from, okay? And, you know, most of the aspects were used for survival, so it was used for protection, okay? So just make sure that you understand that and see if this is even a practice that resonates with you, because it is the practice of what it was referred to now as hoodoo. Or root work or conjure work, but spirituality comes in many different forms, so just make sure that that's something that resonates with your spirit. Okay, and I also want to talk about ancestor veneration. Ancestor veneration is the backbone of hoodoo and conjure work. So make sure that you know what ancestor veneration is. Ancestor veneration is the practice of acknowledging and honoring your ancestors, as the belief is that they walk with you and assist you in this physical realm. And hoodoo is not the only practice that practices ancestor veneration. You will see it across many different cultures. It's just kind of like in Western civilization, and particularly in America, it's been kind of demonized in the past. So let's talk about ancestors. Okay, so I have an entire video talking about how to set up an ancestor altar, but I do want to make this clear. Just because you set up an ancestor altar does not mean you have established a relationship with your ancestors. So a lot of times when people come in and they're asking questions, about how to use our products and all of that jazz, I ask them, have you established a relationship with your ancestors? And like I said, establishing a relationship with your ancestors is more than putting up an ancestor altar and forgetting about it and putting an offering on there only when it's time to do a ritual, okay? So when you are venerating your ancestors, you do give offerings, as far as, maybe putting food on the altar, keeping clean water on there, burning your white candle on the altar. But it's also about even taking time to sit at your altar and just talk to your ancestors and establish a connection with them. Okay, even if that's asking them for messages and asking for their assistance to guide you, you will oftentimes, when you're going through that process, you will get messages that you will know is from the altar work that you have been doing. Okay, you'll get messages in dreams. You may have an older family member who goes to talking about a particular deceased relative that you may even have on your altar. So you'll get little signs and things of that nature. But I do feel like this. A lot of people, um, get turned off with ancestor veneration because they say, well, I had some ancestors who weren't good in this life. And, that's why I said in my video, I don't, if you want to say my ancestors who have my best interests are my benevolent ancestors, you can specify that, okay? Because it's really a matter of you developing your own view of what ancestor veneration is, okay? And what I mean by that is, do you feel that people carry the same traits in the afterlife as they do in this physical realm, okay? So if you want to specify like my benevolent ancestors, then that is perfectly fine, okay? God, now I can't tell you how to establish a relationship with your ancestors, okay? Because that's only something that you can do. I can tell you some basics of how to do it, but I can't build that relationship for you, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of people saying they just feel like a disconnect from their ancestors. I had one question where I had a particular young lady who said that she had an ancestor who was on her altar and she was experiencing the same thing in the physical that one of her ancestors was experiencing as far as health wise. Now I will say this: when you begin the process of ancestor veneration, it's not to come in and ask your ancestors for stuff, for them to bring you money. Okay, the process of that is to heal that line, break generational curses, okay, that those generational curses affect your life. All right, so when you're coming in, even with doing work on your altar, I say have your working altar separate and have your ancestor altar, to itself. But you can put work on that altar, especially if it has something to do with your generational line. So starting uncrossing work and doing healing workings to heal and uncross that line, okay? That's the first step that you want to do, especially before you jump into any workings. And I have a lot of people ask, like, how much time do I need to wait before I do ancestor veneration, before I do uncrossing, before I do block busting, all of this? Okay, there's no particular timeline, but I will say that when you're starting out and you're doing uncrossing, I give you guys a minimum of 13 days to do like a 13 herbs bath and doing uncrossing workings. But sometimes that's a work that you have to continuously work, and you may have to work that work for a while, and you will know, and spirit will let you know when that work is completed. So you may have to do uncrossing work for 6 months. You might have to do healing work for that long. But it's a matter of not trying to rush everything. Like, okay, I'm going to do uncrossing work for my 13 days. Then I'm going to immediately jump into protection work. And then I'm going to give it 2 days. And then I'm going to jump into, that's not how that works. I give you a process of step by steps. But if you feel like, and spirit tells you to work uncrossing to do a 13 herbs bath twice for 13 days, then listen to that. If it tells you that you need to do protection is something that you need to do on a continuous basis anyway. But even if it was something like blockbuster and rolled up, and if it tells you that you need to burn one of our blockbuster or rolled open the candles, and that candle burns out in 3 days, and you feel like you need to do another candle, then continue that work. Okay, you're not just stuck on, don't be stuck on a timeline, okay? Then I had questions as far as establishing a relationship and trying to connect with ancestors, especially like through meditation. This is not something that's going to happen overnight, okay? So while you're building, that's something that you're going to continuously be doing, is connecting with your ancestors, doing your altar work. Even if you got to dedicate 1 or 2 days a week where you're going to sit at your altar and you're going to talk to your ancestors, then do that. But also, like I said, while you're building that relationship, work on healing your ancestral line. Work on those generational curses and those generational blockages, because they can come in many forms. You may have generational curses that affect people not being able to hold on to money in the family. You may have problems with women with fertility issues. or even men with fertility issues. You may have generational curses of different diseases running in the family, such as cancer. Those are some examples of generational blockages and generational curses that you want to try to stop at your line. Okay. And also realize this: when you get into spirituality, a lot of times you will have things that come up and it may not be so good. Okay. You will have, especially when you're going through a healing process, you will have things that come up and you're like, oh, I must have did this work wrong, when really that's something that's coming to the forefront. So that's something that you can heal from. Just like I tell people too, when you get into things like spiritual healing, and I've seen it where people have gotten into spiritual healing and they go to the doctor and they did get diagnosed with a disease. Most of the time when I see it, it's something that's treatable, but that's something that you need to be aware of to heal from it. Okay. So just know that that's not something bad going on with your work, but it's something that you need to be aware of in order to heal properly from it. Okay. And I also talked today about your mentality. So especially when you get into spirituality, sometimes it's not always easy. And sometimes you will feel like you're losing your mind and you're going crazy, okay? Because you're starting to see things differently. And even with that being said, a lot of times you will get in isolation from people just because they don't resonate with your spirit anymore. Okay, you don't see things the same way, whether that's friends, whether that's family. But also it's important to take care of your mental as well, because a lot of people feel like since they're spiritual, they don't have to still do things with their physical body, right? So, and I have said that if you have something going on spiritual, it will manifest in the physical. But that's not to say that you still don't do what you need to do in the physical, such as, seeking therapy, such as going to the doctor, things of that nature. And also know too that even when you get into workings, you're still going to have things that happen in life. Okay, not everything is going to be perfect 100% of the time. I work on a daily basis and I still have different things that come up in my life as well. So just know that just because you're doing work, not everything's going to be perfect. Now it will be kind of like it will deter a lot of the BS that you go through, but things will still happen in life. So just make sure that you're aware of that and don't get discouraged like, this happened, XYZ is not working, because then you're going to have a domino effect because you've gotten into a lack mindset. So even with any kind of spiritual practice, it's all about starting with the mind as well. Also want to talk about uncrossing. So I've had some questions with people saying, well, I was in a money ritual or I did a money candle, so I don't want to do uncrossing. Will it uncross my money work, or will it uncross my protection work? Okay, guys, I'm speaking for us and our products. Okay, I'm speaking for third generation Conjure. If you have ever came to me and asked me anything about working with like a deity, working with anything, okay, I'll tell you, the only thing I may tell you is build a relationship with your ancestors. I'm not going to tell you to go out here and petition this particular deity, XYZ, okay? And I do that for a particular reason. And I'm not going to do it, so I'm not going to tell you to do it. And like I said, I've worked with my ancestors, and my work for my clients have worked just fine. So if you are using our products and you are doing, if you come to us for advice and I say, hey, if you got a relationship established with the ancestors, ask them to assist you, thank them, thank the spirits of the herbs, etc. Okay. If you go and do a money candle and then you turn around and you do uncrossing is to remove cross conditions, or what people would call hexes or jinx or negative energy that is attached to you that may be affecting your life and may be also affecting the manifestations with your works. Okay, so you're working with the spirits of the herbs, you're working with your ancestors. That's not going to uncross your money work. Now, I can't speak for someone else, or if you go buy You know, maybe you did work with another company's products. Okay, maybe you did money work with another company's products, and then you come over here and buy third generation Conjure's uncrossing candle. Now, I don't know who this company is working with, who they have charged these, what they've charged these oils or candles or whatever with. So let's just say, for instance, you go over here and you get a oil, okay? And let's say that they work with a particular demon with that oil, okay? And let's say that that's a negative entity, but it's getting done what you need to get done, okay? So that's attached to you. It's bringing money in, but a lot of times you may have some sacrifices that you have to make for that particular demon or deity to do what you need to get done, okay? So if that's a negative entity that is attached for you, even though it's bringing you money in, if that's something negative, then when you come over here and you do an uncross candle, yeah, it might uncross that work, okay? Because that's a negative force that you're working with. So yeah, it may uncross that, but it's not going to uncross some money work that you did from our company, which is why I tell you guys to not mix the products. Like I said, I'm not telling you this so you can only buy from us. I'm telling you this for a particular reason, and it goes a lot deeper than people know. Okay, so that's why I tell you don't mix products. You know, and then a lot of times, sometimes energy just does not mesh well together. So even sometimes you might get results, but they might be some backhanded results. Okay, so just don't mix them. Okay, so if you're going to use two different companies, don't use them at the same time. And that goes with anybody, not just us, but anybody else that you're using, especially if you're one of the type of people that hop from shop to shop. Okay, so just so we're clear on that. Also, guys, when you come in for a reading, or you come in for something like advice on a situation, it is imperative that you are honest. Most of the time, you know, we can see it in our cards, but you got to be honest. So if I ask you, hey, did you do X, Y, and Z? And you say no, but you really did, I can't help you properly. And the information that I might give you to do may not work for you because you weren't being honest in the first place. So make sure that you're being honest. So if I say, hey, did you do, you know, if you come in and you're asking about some money work, right? And even if I'm doing a reading, I'm like, hey, what kind of crossing work you did over here? I ain't did no crossing work, but you know that you did. I'm asking you that for a particular reason so I can give you the proper advice. So make sure that you're not, that you're being honest when you're talking to your root worker or you're talking to your reader. It's important and it's imperative that you are being honest, okay? So let's see if I had any other questions. Okay, so I had somebody ask, what are different ways to use spiritual products and create individual rituals? And she said, example, I saw a post where you said oils weren't just meant to be worn other than dressing candles. What can you do? You can do a lot of different stuff with your oils and with your powders and etc. It is a matter, like I said, of you developing your own rituals. Like for instance, oils typically weren't just worn, okay? You use that to dress candles. You use that to dress amulets. So let's say, for instance, you have some fiery wall of protection. You can use that oil to dress a candle. You can use that oil to dress or feed a mojo bag for protection. You can use that oil to anoint, like if you have some kind of protection stone or something like that. Even if you wanted to incorporate it in your spiritual bath, if you didn't have a fiery wall bath, if you wanted to put a couple drops in your bath, you can do that. You know, you can anoint things around you, such as your car, your home. I have people that say that they put the oils in their diffuser. You know, so there's a lot of different things that you can do, but it's a matter of what spirit is telling you to do, and it's a matter of kind of using your creativity a little bit. Just like the powders, you know, we said go blow the powder in your yard. You know, if you got some money powder, go blow it in your mailbox. If you want to sprinkle it in somebody's shoe or sprinkle it in the walkway where they're going to walk, if you want to use that on a candle, you can do that as well. You know, some people, I've seen them put floor wash in their laundry detergent, or even put in, you know, a little couple drops of oil, and like, you know, when they're washing clothes. So it's all a matter of how your spirit leads you, and you will figure out your own rituals. But I will tell you that no practitioner that you're going to run into will tell you exactly how they work. Okay, they, you know, we may give some education and some tips, but as far as me saying, hey, I'm going to teach y'all how I do my money rituals, nobody's going to tell you exactly what they do. All right. But yeah, just like I said, create your own rituals. Also, like I said, with people wearing those oils, I'm not saying that you can't wear the oils. I've seen a lot of people have results wearing the oils. Just make sure that you're putting some kind of, at least putting intention behind it. You know, speaking intentions when you're putting that oil on. You know, I've seen people too where they haven't even spoken intentions and they've seen results manifest. But really the biggest part of doing work is letting it go. So I'm going to give you an example. So if you put on oil, right, and you wear this oil, but you're constantly thinking about it, like you say, I'm going to wear some Jezebel oil today, okay? So you put that Jezebel oil and you go to looking for results. You're going to miss those results because you're so stuck on trying to find those results. So people that wear the oil and get results are usually people who wear it and forget that they put it on. You know, it's already in their lotion, so they're not thinking about it or something like that. But it's usually people who forget that they are even wearing the oil because they have let that work go. And I hope that makes sense, guys. But I'm going to go through some of these other questions. If anybody else writes anything after I've done this video, I'll make sure that I come on and, you know, do another video to answer them. But make sure, once again, that you like and subscribe to our channel, and also follow us on Instagram, once again, which is Third Generation Conjure. Like us on Facebook, which is Third Generation Conjure. And also you can find us on our website, which is www.thirdgenerationconjure.com, and our Etsy store, which is www.thirdgenerationconjure.store. And until next time, guys, bye-bye.